Good evening and welcome to Next Gen Season 18. This is the Paramax Group A1 Tourers. We are live from Sakitto in Japan, 3.34 miles of this beautiful circuit. And everyone will be in the BMW M3 E30. We have 10 drivers in tonight. We have D Whitehouse 7, we have Les, Tim, Shadowstalker, Four Fish, our resident Fall Guy, Johnny, otherwise known as Bean Flicker, Traumatic Dave, Bruce Lee Harding, RS Jim 77 makes a return. After a few seasons out, Jim is back. It'll be interesting to see how he goes tonight. And Jack T53 Synopsis as the host, or technically I'm hosting the room, he's just here. But should be a good race. Sakitto, a good circuit for a bit of slipstream, a bit of overtaking. Obviously modelled loosely on the Suzuka circuit. But Rally Matt leads the way in the championship. He's not here tonight. He's on 48 points. Full Fish is currently second on 46, with Cam123 Diz on 45. Les is on 42, with Cam not here as well. DY House 36, Bruce Lee Harding 33, Johnny 32. Jack is on 30. GT5 Ass, he's not here again tonight. He's on 26. Shadowstalker is on 21. Traumatic Dave, joint with him. Bob, who's not here tonight, is on 19. Tim on 10. And Ultimatum on 3 points. So Sakitto, 3.34 miles of Japanese circuit. Let's find someone to ride on board with. Let's go with Bean Flicker, the resident Fall Guy. So we're going to head up towards the first turn. Technically 2 turns. It's a flick right-hander, but then tightens into turn 2. Second gear for Johnny, keeping it tucked in. A little bit of wiggle on the exit. Bit of oversteer to go with it as well. In down towards the S's, turns 3, 4 and 5. Fairly fast right, but then you're gradually coming down the box through the left. Now you can go up or into third and then click it back down to second, or you can try and leave it in second like Johnny did there. Then the Dunlop curve, just long and a left-hander that opens out before you head down to the famous Degners. Degner 1, you're going to brake at, well, about 60 metres. Clipping the right-hand curve, not too much though, because it will spin the car. Degner 2, just a 90-degree right-hander, second gear. Keep it nice and tidy. Into what we're going to call the flat left, and usually this would be the hairpin, but this is probably one of the key bits that they've changed to get it within the game. So through the flat left into 200R, this long right-hander, which then nips up again before you head into Spoon. Then faster start before you go into a tighter second half of the corner. Switchbacks are plenty, could be happening here along with slipstream. Down the backstretch then. Very long backstretch before you head towards the infamous 130R. Touch a brake, obviously it's a bit tighter than the actual 130R, but so does the same job. And then into Casio, again, another part they changed. Normally that would be a chicane in there. Just instead of pretty much a flat right-hander. Cross the line for Johnny, what can he do? It's in a 2 minutes, 0.3, he's 4.4 off the pace of Next Gen Les. Full Fish could potentially come out here of this as championship leader with the absence of Matt and Cam, but you will have to beat Les for it. This is not a Turbo Monday either, which means only the pole position gets you a bonus point. The fastest lap will do nothing for you in the race. Grizzly Harding currently occupying third at 1 minute 57.2. 1.3 off the pace. Oh, he just loses the back end going through Spoon. He'll just about get away with that one. Definite time loss. Goes to the back stretch. Jack currently in fourth. What can he do? We're going to follow him for the rest of the lap. 3:1:30 on. Getting the back end a little bit out, drifting it through the start of it. Trying to maximise the throttle use. Just unsettling over the crest. Keeping it on a wide line, trying to keep the throttle in as much as possible across the line for the number one car. See the reigning defending champion goes fastest with a 1:55.7. Bruce Lee Harding, we know that little does go quicker, not by a lot, but is promising as Les now goes on to pole position. Dramatic Dave currently in fifth, stays fifth for the minute. D Whitehouse 7, 3 minutes 18 to go. He stays sixth, but does improve by a good 2.4 seconds there. Johnny, what can he improve by? It looks like he doesn't. Sharon Stalker currently in 8th place. And that's Bruce just coming out of the pits. Sharon Stalker doesn't improve yet. Bruce coming back out of the pits. RS Jim puts it in 8th place, 4.7 off the pace. So far, there's Tim. He's back in the pit, so that's pretty much going to be end of session, unless he does go back out. He does have just about enough time. He makes it out of the pits. Jack just coming up the pit lane now. Again, he should have just about enough time to squeeze one more lap in. It's going to be tight though. He's going to have to do a near quali lap to make sure. Fish going through 1:30R, currently in 3rd place. He's 8/10ths off the pace of Les at the moment. Les is only 6/1000ths of a second in front of Jack. What can Fish produce here? Across the line, doesn't improve. 5.7 down, so he's had a bit of a mistake or a cool-off lap, effectively. Here comes Les. He can't improve. Here comes Dramatic Dave for his next attempt. Currently 5th. 2 seconds off the pace. Puts it 4th ahead of Bruce Lee Harding, a 1:57.0. D Whitehouse doesn't improve, and Beanflicker's gone for a big off at Casio. That's hard into the wall. And that's the end of qualifying for him. RS Jim. He goes into 6th place now, 1.8 off the pace. He's gradually getting back into it, is Jim. In previous seasons, Shadowstopper does go quicker. Stays in 9th for now, but he's going to have one more chance at a lap time. Jack just coming round to start his final lap. Oh, getting a little bit risky with the inside curbs there. You don't want to clip them. They won't hesitate to put the car on its roof. So, Jack onto his final lap. Fish, will he get an extra lap in? I don't think he will. 5 seconds to go. No, so Fish, this is going to be his final lap. Can he nick pole position at the death? Well, he does go quicker, but not quick enough. Question is, can Les extend his advantage of 0.006 of a second over Jack, because Jack on his final lap now will be the last man to cross the line. Les doesn't improve. Traumatic Dave. Number 59. Crosses the line, doesn't improve. Bruce Lee Harding looks like he's spun coming out of Spoon, so he's not going to improve either. Here comes RS Jim. Puts it fourth on the grid, a 156.3, a nice time from RS Jim. US is finished. Here comes Johnny, our resident fall guy. He's coming up to the line now. It's a long old black, and I think, yes, his lap time wasn't obviously improving. But Jack, TM53 synopsis, we don't know what he's doing on the splits. We don't know whether he's in touch. He's coming around the final corner. Can he nick it away from NXTGEN Les? The answer is... no, he can't. He doesn't improve. So Les will start from the front of the pack from Jack TM53 synopsis by just 6 thousandths of a second. That's correct. A 155.780 plays a 155.786. Full Fish and RS Jim are row 2. Row 3, Traumatic Dave with a cracking qualifying, putting him ahead of Bruce Lee Harding. Row 4 is DY House 7 and Johnny. Row 5 will be Shannon Stalker. Rounding off will be Tim in 10th and last place on that final row. This should be an absolute cracker of a race between these guys. 2 seconds covers the top 7. Johnny having a little bit more difficulty, especially through that first sector. I think he's just being a little bit cautious through that first sector, which is probably why he's losing a fair bit of time. Maybe just not trusting the car. But without further ado, we're going to get this show on the road. Everyone sinks in. We have the 3 red lights. We're green at Sakitto, and there's a hell of a start from Jack TM53 synopsis off the line. He's going to take the lead coming up towards the first turn. A little bit of shuffling in the middle pack there. Jockeying for position into the first turn. But it is Jack who leads from Les, from Full Fish. Dave, looks like Bruce has gone backwards. He's now in 7th place as Jim has also fallen behind Traumatic Dave. Through the S's they go. Bruce Lee Harding on the back of D White House 7. This is for 6th place. Running up towards the Dunlop curve. Bruce has managed to do a lovely job of going around the outside into the inside for the Dunlop curve. He's run a bit wide, so D White House looking to go back to the inside. Beam flickers on the grass. Shadowstalker now spinning at the Dunlop curve. Looks like he's just got that a little bit wrong. But Bruce Lee Harding gets the move done on D White House, and now he's looking at Traumatic Dave. A bit of a spike lag there for some reason. And we've got 11 laps of this. Shadowstalker there at the back. And we've missed a bit. Les has got back past Jack. Still the top 4 head into Spoon. Meanwhile, Bruce goes down the inside of Dave into Spoon, so he's now up into the top 5. Can he catch up to the leading group? That's the question. There is Jack, TM53 synopsis, looking to get back to the lead of the race. Les just ahead, but they are hot. They got cars hot on their heels in the form of Full Fish and RS Jim. Line astern through Casio and down the main straight we go for the first time. Jack's got a good run, good slipstream down towards the first turn. Decides better of it as Les covers the line into turn 2. Jack's gone round. He's clipped the back of Les, and the back end of his own car has decided better of it and almost spun the defending champion round. It's a good save, but perhaps we're going to go 3 wide into the S's now between Bruce Lee Harding, Traumatic Dave, DY House 7. Bruce just about fends off the attack from the 2 Daves. But DY House has lost out big time there. He's now down to 9th place. Meanwhile, Tim having a good battle here with Johnny. To go through the 2 Degners. And that's Jim. Jim's off. Degner 2. And Johnny followed him. Johnny's now gone rally crossing. And Johnny's now being overtaken by DY House 7. So, Les now has a 1.6 second gap over Fourfish. And has Jack on his tail, who's probably going to try and work together here with Fourfish. Get back up to that lead. Bruce Lee Harding is in 4th with Traumatic Dave in 5th. Tim is in 6th. He's having a great race so far. Not to mention, he did finish 4th as Johnny going for another weird line in the background there. Tim did finish 4th in the GTE League at Silverstone. Treacherous wet conditions as well. He's got our Jim just behind him for company as he head towards Casio. Jim looking to the inside, down the main straight. I think Tim probably not going to fight this too hard. He knows Jim's pace. And there you go, Jim through on the inside, through turn 1. He's a little bit wide, and Tim does have a look back at the inside. He's going to get our Jim back here at turn 2. Side by side into the S's, and Jim backs out of it. So Tim doing a lovely job here. Well, as I say that, he just runs a little bit wide into the S's. Just about keeps it the place though against RS Jim. So Jim really losing a bit of time, although Tim, I don't know if that was letting Jim through or whether that was just purely because he's still trying to get control of the car. DY House 7 still just ahead of Johnny. And Shutterstock still in 10th place. Meanwhile, the gap out the front has grown. 3.4 seconds now, Les advantage over Fourfish. You'd have to think. Oh, as Fourfish just goes a little bit deep into Spoon. Allows Jack up the inside, so Jack is now being set free. And Bruce Lee Harding is catching Fourfish and Jack here. As they head down towards 130R. Lovely camera angle that is of 130R. I think Dave's doing quite nicely as well. He's just about hanging on to the back of Bruce Lee Harding here by about a second as they head towards Casio. Here's Tim. He's unfortunately fallen back to 9th place. Not last yet though. For Tim, DI7 in 7th place. Back with Fourfish though, because right now, see this field, it's got this little mid stint spread of cars, and they all just magically come back close together near the end of the race. Traumatic Dave, we'll keep an eye on the gap between Traumatic Dave and RS Jim, because that's around 3 seconds now, and we know how quick Jim can be. So we'll see if Jim can reel that gap to get on the back of this little group here. Through the Degners. Jack from Fourfish and Bruce. Then it's Dramatic Dave. Dave just on and off the brakes to stop it from locking up going into there. Through 200R. And up towards Spoon for the 4th time of 11. Fish. See what comparatively time-wise are doing, because it looks fairly even between these three. Dramatic Dave is gradually dropping off the back of this group, and our Jim isn't really catching Dramatic Dave either. Cone flying around. So Les is a 56.4. Jack, 56.6 for Les, 56.8 for Jack, so he's lost another couple of tenths, but a 57.1 and a 56.2, so Bruce is now firmly on the back of Fourfish as they head up towards the S's for the 5th time. Bruce just allowing the car to roll a little bit more than Fourfish. You can see Fourfish just constantly tapping the brakes through the corners to keep the back end settled, but Bruce is just rolling the car through the corner, and now he's got the run out of the Dunlop curve towards Degner 1. Squeeze to the right hand side, backed out of it before the first Degner, and towards Degner 2. Bruce obviously not very happy being squeezed maybe, or whether that was a case of let's work together here, we shouldn't be fighting. It was quite a heavy squeeze, that Fourfish bomb, but just about enough room given to Bruce Lee Harding, just about a car's width of space left. Into the Spoon curve. Meanwhile, D Whitehouse 7 still ahead of Johnny. He's having a little bit of a private battle for 7th place, although Johnny is gradually losing the tail of D Whitehouse here. Back near the front. Jack's lost a bit more time. By the seams of it in the top left hand corner. 56.8 by Les. Oh, 56.6. So Jack has actually now gained a couple of tenths back on Les, although that's not going to be enough. He's going to have to start reeling them in faster than that, as Jack, if he wants to have a shot at winning this race. Fourfish still has the white and blue BMW of Bruce Lee Harding just behind him. It's the perfect race to make up any points here today, especially on the likes of Rally Matt and Cam 123 Diz, who are away at the moment. Through the Degners, and Bruce now right back on the back of Fourfish, on board with him. Through the flat left, although not quite flat in the BMW by the looks of it. It's got a little bit of a compression, that flat left. If you get the right line, it is flat, and the compression actually helps the car turn a bit more. But on the wrong line, can unsettle the car and give you more issues than help. RS Jim is gradually closing in now on Traumatic Dave, not by a lot, but he's slowly getting there. Bruce Lee Harding up to 130R, no point. He's going to get a slipstream, but he might as well use it for the fight for the main straight. Doesn't bother with the curb. Down towards Casio. How close do we get to those inside sleeping policemen? About as close as Fourfish gets, though Fourfish a little bit tighter on the exit. Maybe a slight confidence lift. He's going to allow a bit of a run for Bruce Lee Harding. He's going to look to the inside, thinks better of it. Not quite close enough to make a move, although he is going to be close enough through the S's once again. He gets a good run out of the turn 2, and Fourfish actually gets good traction out of the second corner. Through the S's. The Dunlop curve. Down towards the Degners. Well, this time Bruce looking for a slightly tighter line through Degner 1 to try and look at the inside for Degner 2. Didn't quite work. Bruce trying to plan this out, trying to figure out where the best possible place is to overtake Fourfish, to make sure he can't be re-overtaken. Oh, and that is Johnny has retired to the pits. What a shame. He's running in 8th place. He'd obviously lost it somewhere because he lost a fair bit of time to D Whitehouse 7. So a shame really for Johnny. He's probably not going to score. He's not going to score any points tonight. It's a good opportunity to take some points away, but this might end up being his drop score for the season. Bruce Lee Harding on the tail of Fourfish once again through 130R. Looking for that crucial run out of Casio. The gap between Les and Jack being maintained at 2.8 at the moment. Up to the line. And you immediately Fourfish going defensive. Goes back to the racing line. Bruce Lee Harding down the inside. Looking for the move for the podium spot. Good racing given. Good racing between the two. Bruce Lee Harding comes out on top, out of the first turn. Question is, can he get away so Fourfish can't get back at him? So a little bit wide through the first part of the S's. Up towards the Dunlop curve. And down towards the Dagners. Bruce has already pulled out a 6/10 of a second gap, up nearly 7/10 to go through the to Degner 1. He's going to pull even more time. You wonder if Fourfish is actually comfortable in the BMW because, as we saw on board with Bruce Lee Harding, Fourfish constantly tapping the brakes through some of the corners, as if he didn't trust the back end not to stay put with the BM. Meanwhile, this is going to be an interesting battle to keep an eye on for the closing stages. RS Jim coming up to the back of Traumatic Dave. It's been quite a long slog for RS Jim to get onto the back of Dave. But it could be a rewarding one if you can get past for a top 5 place for a driver who has returned to the series. Whether this is a one-off or whether he's going to return for the rest of the season, who knows? Hopefully he returns for the rest of the season. He's a cracking driver as Jim. 130R. Meanwhile, Bruce is still just about ahead of Fourfish as they go down the main straight. It's going to stay that way into turn number 1 as well. But Jim has a slight little sneaky look to the inside. But again, too far back to really pull that one off. But definitely looking to get into Traumatic Dave's mirrors here. Through the S's they go. Interesting tactic from Dave. He left the door open if Jim wanted to slide the car in through to the right-hander. It was definitely an opportunistic gap if Jim had the run. Luckily for Dave, Jim didn't have the run he needed, but down towards the Degners, and Jim, he really is all over the back of Dave. Degner 2 and Traumatic Dave's offline. He's got a tighter line, meaning a worse exit up towards the flat left-hander. .200R and the spoon curve. to end this wicked little section of track before you head down the back stretch towards 130 yard. Dave's a low. Dave spun it. He's clipped the outside curb. He's managed somehow to keep it going in the right direction. Just clipped the curb on the outside, spun the rear wheels up, and that meant the back end cried more than the car could handle. Sent him sideways, luckily to the inside. Lots of grass where Dave can recuperate the car and carry on. Meanwhile, Bruce Lee Harding still in third place in front of Four Fish. Oh, Four Fish wide through turn 1, which means a bad entry into turn 2. Should get a nice little exit, but won't make up for the lost time going into it. Through the S's they go, once again for the penultimate time. I fear, unless Les has a mistake, a spin, he's set to win this race so far. We haven't seen much of Les because he's pretty much just been out in front on his own. We haven't seen him, but it looks like Traumatic Dave's made another mistake, allowing Dean Whitehouse past him. So Dean Whitehouse winning their battle of the Daves now during tonight's race. Bruce Lee Harding now a 1.3 second gap to Four Fish. Meaning it's going to be quite hard for Four Fish to pick up a slipstream. We'll have to close up through the spoon curve. I don't think he's really done that. He's gained about a tenth or two. He's just about in that slipstream window. Very just though, because the gains are very minimal. Into Casio and Bruce Lee Harding. Four Fish just been a little bit more attacking through 130R. Into the first turn, there is now just half a second between them, although that should always expand. Again, Bruce a little bit wide through the first part of the S's. But Four Fish unable to really capitalise on anything mistake-wise that Bruce does. Into the Degners. So where Bruce is strong is through the Degners, and the second half of the S's he's really good at just letting the car roll through the corner. He isn't quite flat compared to Four Fish. I'd say that's where Bruce loses the majority of his time, through that flat left hander, not having the confidence to go flat through it. Through spoon and down the backstretch he goes. For the final time, they head towards 130R. Going to break away from this because we've not seen much of this man. He's been pretty much perfect throughout this whole race, is Les. The number 33 Gerhard Electricals car. He flashes his lights because he knows that Next Gen Les wins at Sakitto. A pretty dominant performance. Jack comes home in second place. What could have been if he hadn't have spun. Bruce Lee Harding will hold on for third place on that final podium, with Four Fish in fourth. RS Jim is going to come home in fifth place. A good return for him. Not quite the one he probably wanted, but a fantastic result on return for RS Jim. It's good to see him back. D. Whitehouse has Traumatic Dave just behind him, but it looks like he's going to hold out to win the Battle of the Daves. So DY House 7 comes home in 6th. Traumatic Dave in 7th. Tim, he was running well to begin with this race, but couldn't quite keep it on the circuit. It's going to be 8th place for Tim, so a nice little batch of points for Tim. So what happens when you don't give up in league racing? You still get points, and you make points up on your rivals. Because Johnny, who has retired from this race, will be losing out to Tim tonight. So Tim crosses the line in 8th place. There's Shadow Stalker. Again, a bit of a lonely race for Shadow Stalker being at the back after that early spin at the Dunlop curve. But once again, he hasn't given up. He's going to come home in 9th, and again he will gain on his rivals who either didn't race tonight or, in terms of Johnny, retired from the race. Shadow Stalker comes home in 9th place, and well-deserved little points all for him as well. Tracking little race at Sakitto with the BMWs, but it is NXTGEN Les who wins here at Sakitto by just over 4 seconds to Jack TM53 Synopsis. Bruce Lee Harding completes the podium with 4Fish in 4th, RS Jim 5th, DY House in 6th, Traumatic Dave 7th, Tim in 8th, Shadow Stalker 9th, and Johnny retired after completing just 6 laps. So next up on the channel tonight, we have the Monday Night Tours Paramaxed TC V8 League. We head to Zhuhai, and everyone's going to be in the BMW 320 touring car. Stay tuned for that one. That is going to be an absolute cracker around Zhuhai. It always is. Always creates very close racing. What's next for the Paramaxed Group A1s, I hear? You ask? Well, round 5 we head to the Red Bull Ring, and everyone is going to be in Cam's favourite car, the Mercedes 190E. Oh, that's always been about the last time we went there. It was wet. Jack had a storming drive in the back of the pack. Definitely not one to be missed. But from myself and everyone here at the Group A1s, we'd like to thank Paramax for sponsoring the events, and we'd like to thank everyone for watching at home. Do stay tuned for the TCV8s coming up next in about 10-15 minutes time. But from the Group A1s, thank you for watching. Good night.